Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Namaste once again everyone. So we are seeing the 29th sloka. Prakriter guna sammudhaha sajjante guna karmasu tana krishna vidho mandan krishna vinna vichalayet. So in this sloka, Bhagavan Krishna is back to the subject of Ajnani. Remember, he talked about these in the 26th and 27th sloka. Then in 28th sloka, he switched to a Jnani. And now he comes back to the Ajnani once again. In fact, this verse, more or less we can say, is a sort of a repetition of the idea which he gave in the 27th verse. So unlike a Jnani, the Ajnani's problem is he does not have the objectivity with regard to his body, mind, sense complex, which we have defined as Ahankara. Therefore, Krishna says, Prakrite guna sammudhaha. We have already seen the meaning of Prakriti guna as Ahankara, as body, mind, sense complex. So here, Prakrite guna sammudhaha means the body, mind, sense complex, with reference to the body, mind, sense complex. With regard to that, sammudhaha, the Ajnanis are completely deluded. Samyak mudaha. I mean, basically what it means is that they do not have objectivity. In fact, they expect two sets of law. One for their ahankara and one for others' ahankara. And this is what is called as delusion. If death comes to others, it's a natural process, whoever is born will have to die, etc. Philosophy. When it comes to your own close relatives or your own self, they expect different rules to apply. And because of this delusion, what they do, guna karmasu sajjante, they are totally involved in, immersed in, they are carried away by, they are lost in guna karmasu. I think somebody's some background noise I'm getting. Is somebody unmuted? No. Okay. So guna karmasu sajjante. They are lost in the guna karmasu, in the body, mind, sense complex and their activities. So they are immersed in ahankara and its activities. In Bhajagovindam, Adi Shankara describes this preoccupation with the body, mind, sense complex and its activities. Very beautiful shloka. He says, Balastavat Krida Saktaha. The whole childhood is lost in play and sports. Then Tarunastavat Taruni Saktaha. Tarunastavat means the youth, right? Youth is lost in romance, boyfriend, girlfriend, dating, etc. Taruni means a young woman, Taruni. We need not be very specific. We can interpret this as youth is lost in sense pleasures, not restricted just to romance, etc. Then one grows old, becomes a vriddha. He says, vriddhastavat chinta saktaha. When the man becomes old, his mind is full of worries and anxieties. Oh, my children, what they will be doing, what will happen to them. My wife, she doesn't know much. She's a very nice woman, very pious woman. If I die before her, what will happen to her? Who will take care of her? All these kind of anxieties, worries, etc. He has lost time and now he has got lot of time, but physically he finds himself that he cannot be active. So all kinds of worries about old age, about his health, his family, they all take hold of him. 3 stages: the childhood, then youth and old age. Shankara points out the whole life is lost. Then in the last line, he laments, Parame Brahmani Kopida Sakta hai. Alas, at no stage of life is a man devoted to Parabrahman, the Lord. People have got time for all kinds of things, but not for Parabrahman. No one is to be found here who is attached or committed to Brahman. That is the lamentation of Adi Shankara. And therefore, guna karmasu sajjante. Throughout their life, they are immersed in ahankara. So what can be done with regard to them? If there were some people say, oh, these people are all wasting their time, I should now, guide them. I must actually inspire them to do something useful with their life. That's many people will have this idea. Crusader mentality. I call that crusader mentality. They want to change the world. Krishna says, do nothing. Don't disturb them. Tan mandan Krishnavit Here, Krishnavit means a jnani, the one who has got total knowledge. Krishnam means total. So, Krishnavit means the one who has got total knowledge. Now, what do we mean by total knowledge? It's not that knowledge of all subjects and everything. No. The one who has got the knowledge of his lower self, ahankara, and also the knowledge of his higher self, atma. The one who has got the knowledge of both these things, that is called total knowledge. So, total knowledge means he knows both his lower nature and higher nature. He is a jnani. Krishnavit is called a Krishnavit here. And mandan. Tan mandan, he says, those mandaha, those ajnanis who have got partial knowledge. Krishna says, akrishna vidaha, who have incomplete knowledge, who have half-baked knowledge, who have only partial knowledge. Why? They have the knowledge of the body, mind, sense complex, the lower I, the ahankara, but they do not have knowledge of the higher I, the atma. That's why incomplete knowledge. And he calls them mandan, immature people, deluded people, emotional people. Therefore, a jnani should be very careful in dealing with such people. He says, na vichalayet. Do not unsettle them. Do not disturb their beliefs. Do not try to wean them away from their beliefs and actions. Do not confuse them. Because many times, if someone tells us that what we are doing is not correct or appropriate, it may lead to two reactions. One is a rebellious attitude. They will ask, who are you to tell me that what I am doing is not correct? Why you mind your own business? This is one result. Other result could be a feeling of guilt. Oh, I have been all throughout my life doing all wrong things only. Hey, Bhagavan, the feeling of guilt will eat them away. So a jnani should avoid evoking both types of responses. And therefore, he needs to take utmost care in dealing with such people with partial knowledge. They only know the ahankara, the lower self. They do not have any idea about the higher self. So, Krishna says, a jnani should not confuse an ajnani, na vichalaye. Do not shake him. Do not disturb him. Because many times some of these jnanis, of course, if he's a real jnani, he won't do that, but who are seen as jnanis by others, they will advise, oh, you have done your duty in Grihastha this 4 ashramas are there. Now Grihastha duty is over. Now you should pursue Vedanta. For that you must take sannyasa. Now you go and, become a renunciate. And they will glorify sannyasa. That's why in our tradition, they never emphasize sannyasa in public. Because an unripe person taking sannyasa is a danger for the sannyasa itself, danger for the sannyasi, and danger for the shastra, danger for the society, danger for everyone. There is a level of maturity and, as we call, a person has to ripen for him to enter formal sannyasa. And that is why, right from Puja Swamiji, Swami Paramathanandaji and all, they will never advise taking sannyasa. In fact, They have moved away from what even Adi Shankara used to, because in his days it was okay. But it's now almost what, 1500 years after Adi Shankara. Things have changed. Society has changed. Today, sannyasi does not have the same protection from the society as it used to be there in earlier days. With the result, if a person is really not mentally mature enough to take on the sannyasa responsibility, to lead a life of sannyasa, there is a danger that he may fall into wrong ways, which will be worse than what he was earlier. And that is why, sannyasa diksha is given only after personal observation. Normally, a guru would give sannyasa diksha to his shishyas. Sannyasa diksha is not available for asking. In fact, in the case of a grihastha, the consent of the spouse is necessary for giving sannyasa diksha. Without the consent of the spouse, no sannyasa diksha will be given. For a brahmachari, the consent of the mother is necessary. In fact, I know of a few cases, people who are known to me, devotees of Puja Swamiji, and they have studied, like this, attending some classes and, downloaded talks from internet and all that, and they have got some idea of Vedanta. Very, very preliminary idea. So suddenly they want to become sannyasas. Then they approach Puja Swamiji. In fact, they themselves have told me this. They said that, no, we want to take sannyasa. Puja Swamiji was always, his response was an emphatic no. He would always advise people, encourage people to continue doing their duties, both shastric duties as well as laukika duties. In fact, one person, when he was a bachelor, he went to Swamiji. He told Swamiji, advised him, get married, have children, lead a grihastha life. After that, we will see. Swamiji, Puja Swamiji and all, by just the look at the person, by being with him for an hour, he will know whether this person can manage the sannyasa ashrama or not. Normally, he would go give sannyasa only to those people with whom he has observed over a period of time that, yes, these people can renounce their responsibilities as a grihastha, and they are mature for sannyasa ashram. Only those people Puja Swamiji is to give diksha. And that continues even to this day. Therefore, what Krishna says by saying na vichalaye, don't put wrong ideas in the mind of a ajnani. Encourage him to remain in duties, because once he gets ripened, his ahankara and his attachment to the karmas will automatically drop. Urva rukamiva bandhanat. They will naturally drop. Therefore, Krishna says, na vichalaye. The message of this shloka is more or less similar to the shloka 26, where Krishna said, buddhi bhedam na janayet ajnanam karma sangita. There, Krishna's advice was to guide such ignorant people by setting an example for them to follow. Joshayet sarva karmani, he said, right? Here in this shloka, he is cautioning the Jnanis from misguiding the Ajnanis. It is like a mother who knows what food should be given to a child at what stage. A newly born infant should be given only liquid food, and that too very diluted. You cannot give solid food to that child. Then the next stage, semi-solid food like porridge, etc. are given. Solid food should be given only when the child's digestive system is ready for it. An Ajnani's approach, a Jnani's approach to an Ajnani should be similar. Therefore, na vichalaye. Don't unsettle the Ajnanis. Let them do whatever. In fact, you encourage them to do what they are doing. The more they do actually Vaidika karmas, Shastric karmas, the faster will be their move towards Viveka, Vairagya, etc., which is necessary for the spiritual journey. So now, next sloka. Mahi sarvani karmani sanyasyadhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. Beautiful sloka. Anvaya is sarvani karmani mayi sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirashihi nirmamaha bhutva vikatajvaraha yudhyasva. So the word meanings are sarvani, all, karmani, actions, mayi, unto me, sanyasya, offering or dedicating, adhyatma chetasa, with a devout mind, with a discriminative mind, yudhyasva, fight, nirashihi, without expectations, nirmamaha, without possessiveness, without possessiveness, claiming the credit for everything, you can call it. Bhutva, being, vigatajvaraha, without any anxiety, anger, or frustration. So the simple meaning is offering or dedicating all actions unto me with a devout mind, fight without expectations, without possessiveness, being without any anxiety, anger, or frustration. So, with the previous sloka, the 29th sloka, Krishna's advice to a Jnani is over. Krishna first advice was to a Jnanis and then second advice was to a Jnanis. We have seen the last few slokas. Ajnanis have to do karma for chitta shuddhi, Jnanis have to do karma for loka sangraha. And when Ajnani does karma for chitta shuddhi, it is called karma yoga. And when Jnani does karma, it is for loka sangraha. This we have seen all these things. So the Jnani's duty topic is over. Now in the 30th sloka, Krishna comes back to the topic of karma yoga once again. And in one beautiful sloka, Krishna sums up the entire karma yoga. And this verse is addressed to an Ajnani. Because Krishna knows Arjuna is still an Ajnani, and therefore at this stage, he needs more guidance on karma yoga. Basically, this sloka, you can call it as a summary of the entire karma yoga he has talked about till now. And in this sloka, karma yoga is defined as a five-fold discipline. So a karma yogi should observe these 5 rules. Karma yoga is a 5-point program. As I said, this is a really very important verse. which sums up karma yoga in one sloka. If you remember this sloka, you memorize and remember this sloka, you will know what exactly is karma yoga is. One sloka is enough. We will see all these 5 conditions, what Krishna talks about. We'll slightly rearrange the order so that, there is a flow. So we will first take up the first condition, Adhyatma Chetasa. Adi Shankara in his commentary says, interprets this as Viveka Buddhi. So the first condition to be a karma yogi is to have a Viveka Buddhi, right knowledge or right discrimination. What is the nature of that discrimination? The awareness that spiritual goal alone is the primary goal of my life. My life is meaningful, purposeful, and valid only if it is dedicated to the primary or spiritual knowledge or moksha. That is the first condition of karma yoga. Viveka Chudamani Shankaracharya says Atma Anatma Viveka is the most important Viveka for a Sikha. Of course, there are, the Shastra talks about other Viveka also, which are no less important. Satya Mithya Viveka, Nitya Anitya Viveka, all those things. Ultimately, it is all amounting to the same thing, the discriminative, differentiate between what is permanent, what is impermanent. That is the discriminatory faculty one needs to develop. But there is a beautiful mantra in Bhagawad Upanishad. Says, Yaha Atmanam Viditva Asmat Lokat Praiti Saha Brahmanaha. Only that person who spends his life for self-knowledge and dies after gaining the self-knowledge, only that person deserves the title Brahmanaha. Then the Upanishad goes on to say, Yaha Atmanam Avidhitva. Yaha Atmanam Avidhitva Asmat Lokat Praiti Saha Kripanaha. Kripanaha literally means a miserly person. Because he got a big treasure in the form of a human birth, but he did not spend his life properly. Therefore, he is like a miser who has got lot of wealth, but does not use it either for himself or to help others. So, Kripanaha, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says, is a Kripanaha, the one who does not utilize his life, his human birth for the right purpose. And therefore, we should remember that life is valid only if it is dedicated to spirituality primarily. Therefore, to be a karma yogi, moksha must be the ultimate goal. We don't say that dharmartha kama should not be pursued. We require dharma, artha, kama, everything. Artha, wealth is required. Kama, entertainment is required because mind requires relaxation. When punyam is required for getting a proper guru, and guru one should get, first getting a guru and getting a proper guru, both it is required. Therefore, we require dharma, artha, kama, but these are not ends in themselves. If I consider money to be an end, I can never be a karma yogi. For a karma yogi, money is only a means. It can only be a means, rather, not an end. In fact, Swami Paramathanandaji quotes a nice Subhashitam. Aharartam karma kuryat ajasram Syad aharaha pranasandharanartham pranadharyaha tattva jigyasanartham tattvam yeyam yena bhuyona dukkham. See, our literature is full of all these, nice advices only. Time and again and again, point out a human being, go in this direction. This should be your direction. Aharartham karma kuryadasasram. For eating, you have to necessarily work because you have to earn a living. And what is the purpose of eating? Syad ahara pranasandharanartham. We have to eat so that we can keep ourselves alive. Pranasandharanartham. And why we should live? Most of us nowadays will say, oh, we should live for eating and enjoying. What they say? Make merry. But the Subhashitam says, Pranadharya tattva jigyasanartham. I keep myself going primarily for what? Tattva jigyasanartham, self-inquiry. Knowing the reality of myself. Who am I? That is why I require this life. Tattvam yeyam yena bhuyona dukkham. By gaining self-knowledge, there will be no more unhappiness, no more sorrow. Therefore, this must be very, very clear. So, to be a karma yogi, one should be very clear about the priorities of life. Karma yogi should be considering that spiritual progress is primary, and if material goals have to be necessarily accomplished, they have to be subservient to the spiritual goal only. And as I said, this is again in the Vedantic parlance, Nitya Anitya Vastu Viveka. We have seen in Tattva Bodha also. Nitya Vastu means moksha, Anitya Vastu means Dharmartha Kama. That is Anitya Vastu. Dharmartha Kamas are ephemeral, moksha alone is eternal. So I have to use Dharmartha Kama for attaining moksha. Dharmartha Kama, the means, moksha is the end. This clarity of the primary goal of life is called Adhyatma Chetasa. This is condition number 1, spiritual goal. What is the next condition? Second condition. Once spiritual goal is my primary goal, then the immediate thing to be taken care of is what? Purification of the mind. That has to start straight away. Like when people buy a land for constructing a building or even for an ashrama, the buildings can come later. Activities may start later. The first thing to do is to dig a well or a bore, drill a bore well and plant some trees so that the trees will be growing by the time the building is ready. The trees will, by the time, the trees will be sufficiently grown up. They will start that first. In the same way, when I am going to be ready for Vedantic inquiry, I do not know when that time will come, how long I will take for getting sadhana chatushthaya sampatti, I do not know. Therefore, let me start working on purification of my mind, chitta shuddhi. And we have already seen the only way to purifying the mind is involving God. God alone has got the capacity to purify because everything else is already impure. An impure thing cannot purify another impure thing. Therefore, if I try to use any other method, it would not work. Therefore, the immediate procedure is to associate yourself with God. And how do you do that? Convert every action into worship. That he says in the second condition. Mayi sarvani karmani sanyasya. The word sanyasya should be carefully translated here. Normally, sanyasya will mean renouncing, right? And that this is all problem comes when you don't learn from a qualified guru. So they will say, no, Krishna is saying sarva karmani, mayi sarvani karmani sanyasya, I mean, renounce all your karmas to me. Take sannyasa. That is not the meaning here. Because we are talking about karma yoga. We are not talking about taking sannyasa. So in this context, sannyasa does not mean renunciation. It means offering, dedicating. So sarvani karmani sanyasya, dedicating all actions to me. To me. Bhagavan says, Mahi. Therefore, offering or dedicating at my feet. Ishwararpana buddhi. Karomi yadyat sagalam parasmai Sriman Narayanayedi samarpayami. Or yadyat karma karomi tattadakilam shambho tavaradhanam. I dedicate all action to the Lord. Convert your work into worship. Whatever I do, all that is samarpayami tava aradhanam only. Even while eating, I offer it to the Lord. The food I am offering not for myself. I am offering to the Lord. Pranaya swaha, pranaya swaha, etc. That is also offering to the Lord, who is in our stomach in the form of Jataragnihi. And that's why, in our culture, we believe that God is not in temples alone. The entire creation is a manifestation of the Lord. Therefore, to do karma yoga or worship, we do not necessarily require a temple. We can do it anywhere. If we mentally offer all our actions to the Lord, that becomes a worship. So, what is the second condition? Ishwararpana buddhi. Convert work into worship. And the corollary of that is what? If I am offering all the actions to the Lord, whom I revere, naturally what I will do? I will do my best. Because we don't give rotten things to a revered person, isn't it? Even when the guest comes to our house, whom we actually respect a lot, we want to give the guest the best of the things. And even while doing puja and all, that's why we prepare the Naivedyam with lot of care, ensuring its purity. It is ingrained in our culture. Whatever we offer to the Lord has got to be pure and proper. And therefore, when offering our actions also, the same sentiment should prevail. We should offer pure and proper actions, which means what? Our actions should be dharmic. They must be wholeheartedly, sincerely done without grumbling, without grudging. Oh my God, I am forced to do this thing and all. We cannot indulge in adharmic actions and offer them to the Lord. We should offer the best to the Lord. So a karma yogi does not, a karma yogi, even the grossest job he does with love. As we have seen earlier, it has to be done with a attitude that this has to be done. This is my duty. I have to do it, whether it is good, bad, ugly. Therefore, the second condition is convert work into worship. And that is what Ishwararpana buddhi. Third condition is nirashihi. Nirashihi means literally being not concerned about the result. Because this word asha, there are two verbs in the language which could be confusing. Here it is ashish shabda, shakaranta strilinga, for those who know Sanskrit. The dictionary meaning of ashi is blessing. And nirashi means the one who does not look forward to any blessings in the form of the results of one's actions. You must understand this very carefully. Nirashi, because asha also means a desire. So nirashi should not be interpreted here as the one you should do all your action without any desires, without any expectaphs. If we interpret like that, then it will be contradicting karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. What we have seen earlier, what is under your control is action, your free will. What is not in your control is the result of the action. So, if you have that understanding, what is karmanyevadhikaraste means, that same thing here also. Nirashi means one who does not look forward to any blessings in the form of results for one's action. But mind you, Krishna does not say we should not plan for the result. Because without keeping result in view, no one will do any job. Prayojanam anuddishya mandopina pravartate. That is a Subhashita. Without having some expectation, some use for the action, even the fool will not do anything. Because suppose you are traveling, you have to keep the result of reaching the destination in time in mind, isn't it? So anything that we do, any action is always result oriented. To achieve something only, we get into an action. So all our actions are undertaking keeping some results in mind. What Krishna is implying is that you can plan for some results, but do not become anxious about the result. Do not start worrying whether the result will be achieved or not. Actions are like seeds. Each one of them will sprout in the form of a result. But whether it turns to be the crop we expected or it turns to be a weed which we did not expect is not in our hands. Therefore, Krishna says, have expectation, plan for the result, but do not become anxious. Do not start worrying about the result. Do your duty, come what may. Trust in God and do what is right. That is the advice. So, plan, implement your actions without looking forward to blessings in the form of certain expected results. Planning will make you efficient. Worrying will make you inefficient or even deficient. Vedanta does not criticize planning. Vedanta criticizes worrying. So Nirashi here means engage in an action without worrying about specific results. And if we actually reflect on it, we will find that worry comes because our inability to face the future, which is again born out of our mental weakness. Worry is, we can define worry as the incapacity to face the future, our unpreparedness to face the adverse situation that may come. Therefore, the only solution for worry is preparedness. As it is said, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. You might have planned a pilgrimage to some holy place. All arrangements are in place. You have reached the railway station to board the train, but you find the train is cancelled because some band or hartal or some reason train is cancelled. What will you do? For that reason, you should not say, start worrying, oh, what if the train is cancelled and all. It's good actually. You must not worry, but you must plan. So, in all your planning, always include a worst case scenario. Make standby arrangements. Suppose the train is cancelled for whatever reason. It may be a very far reaching kind of a thing, rather, but if you have planned for it, you at that point in time when you are faced with the situation, you will know exactly what you should do. Of course, this requires more efforts in the planning. That's why they say for successful execution of any project, planning is 80% and execution or implementation is only 20%. 80% of the time effort has to go in planning. Every contingencies have to be thought about and has been built into the plan so that you have a plan B. If you know that you have a plan B, you can get rid of worry and anxiety. Therefore, nirashihi here means preparedness for future, preparedness for unforeseen circumstances. Or put it other way, accepting whatever results that your action brings, whether it is expected results or less than expected, more than expected, or opposite to the expectations. Or accepting all results as prasada from the Lord. I have already offered all my actions to the Lord. Now, whatever result that comes, I will accept it as Bhagavan's prasada. Ishwararpada buddhi followed by Ishwara prasada buddhi. That is the third condition. What is the fourth condition? Nirmamaha. Freedom from mamakara. What do we mean by mamakara? It's a human tendency that when things are going well, when success comes, I take all the credit. Me. It is because of me, my efforts, my planning, my execution that I have succeeded. Everything is I. The moment there is a failure, I look for someone to pass on the blame. I look for a scapegoat. Therefore, nirmamaha means do not claim the whole glory to yourself. Success is a result of many factors which are favorable to you, but on which you have no control. Of course, your contribution is also there in the success, but your role is only an insignificant role compared to the infinite number of hidden variables, unknown and uncontrollable variables. All these hidden variables put together is what we call Daivam, we call Ishwara Anugraha. Therefore, Nirmamaha, be grateful to the Lord, learn to say, I succeeded, but do not put a full stop, but a comma, and add by the grace of Lord. Let humility be there. Therefore, the fourth factor is Nirmamaha, humility. Mamatva abhavaha. 13th chapter, Krishna will call it Amanitvam. And now the fifth factor, which is almost a natural consequence of the previous four factors. So four factors we must remember: Viveka Buddhi, Ishwararpana Buddhi, Prasada Buddhi, and Mamatva Abhavaha, humility. In fact, fifth factor we need not enumerate, because if we follow the first four, the fifth is automatic. But for the sake of completion, Krishna adds that. Vikata Jwaraha. Jwaraha means fever. And fever is of two types. Stula Sharira Jwaraha, which is called Kayika Jwaraha. And other is Manasa Jwaraha, mental feverishness, which is what? Stress and strain. Because there also we say, my mind has got heated up, We can measure the body temperature, but mind temperature can't be measured. Yet we say, I got heated up, I got into an heated argument, heated discussion, etc. So stress or strain or tension is called jwaraha. And vigata jwaraha means equanimity, or to remember the second chapter, samatvam yoga uchyate. Vigata jwara, vigata jwaratvam nama samatvam. And our equanimity is disturbed in two ways because we function in two ways. One is we function as karta, as the doer of varieties of action. And the second role we play is as a bhokta, because constantly results are flowing in and we are expecting certain results from the action. So on the one side, we are acting, on the other side, things are happening. Therefore, we are constantly functioning in two ways, as a karta and as a bhokta. And our mind can be disturbed both ways. When I am doing an action which I do not like, there is stress or tension. In fact, psychological studies, they have found that most of the stress-related problems we have are because we have jobs which we do not love or like. In the present employment situation, when getting a job itself is difficult, this person is qualified for something, he loves to do something, then what he gets is totally something else. And therefore, there is resistance to that work. What to do? Family is there, children are studying, one has to work for money. Therefore, when you do not love to do something, but are forced to do it, there is resistance every movement. There is a drag every movement. That's why, come Friday, I always look forward to weekends. I look forward to Friday evenings, happy hours. Detest Sunday evenings because I have to go to work on Monday. And this mental stress, because of being an unhappy karta, leads to a lot of diseases and problems. Therefore, the most important advice is, if you cannot do what you like, learn to like whatever you have to do. Start today itself. Learn to like whatever you have to do by innovating the job, by improving the job, finding something interesting in the job, doing some research so that I am enjoying what I do. In the 18th chapter of Gita, Krishna describes one of the important characteristics of a karma yogi as dhrityutsaha samanvitaha. Dhriti and utsaha. So, the karma yogi should be an embodiment of utsaha, enthusiasm. If I learn to love what I have to do, half my tension will be gone. And that is equanimity as karta. Then the second source of tension is as a bhokta. I have resistance to what is happening and what I have. And when I have that resistance, I blame everyone in the world. And the poor Lord is also not spared. Therefore, as a bhokta, also equanimity is possible if I learn to accept whatever results come with prasada buddhi, with the total understanding that Bhagavan cannot be unjust. He is giving me karma phala as per my own karmas in the past or present. But suppose one says, I understand all that. I understand that Ishvara is doing justice. But the problem is, I am not able to bear the pain. So what should I do? Very, very natural question. Everything is fine. But it is really unbearable. The answer, he says, surrender to the very same Lord. Oh Lord, I know you are doing justice alone, but I do not have the strength to accept this. Please bless me with the strength to face what I should face. This is called Vikata Jwaratvam. We are seen in the second chapter, Arjuna as a Karta, expressing his problem when he has to fight and kill his near and dear ones, Bhishma, Drona, Kripa, and others. Gurun hatva hi mahanubhavan shreyo bhoktum bhaikshyamapiha loke hatvartakamastu guruni haiva punjiya bhogan rudira pradigdhan. See, what is the sentiment? I mean, this is exactly, full of jwara. Arjuna is seized with the mental jwara. Of course, we have also seen the first chapter, this mental jwara converted itself into a physical jwara also. When his, hands were shaking, he was sweating, etc. So here he says, even if I am victorious in the war, I cannot be happy because it is blood-stained precious, Rudira Pradigta, that I am going to get. See, what a painful situation that Arjuna is facing. But there is no other way. He has to do what is to be done, and that too without resistance. He has to accept the consequence either of their death or his own death. It is his duty to fight the war without worrying about the consequences. He needs to have an equanimous mind to accept whatever results come. Therefore, Arjuna needs to be calm. Vikata jwaraha. Like Arjuna, a karma yogi also needs to be calm. Vikata jwaraha. So, samatvam is the fifth condition. Therefore, to sum up the 5 conditions, what are they? Clear priority with regard to life goals. Number 2, offering all actions to the Lord. Number 3, accepting all results as God's prasadha. Number 4, humility and appreciating the blessing of the Lord in success. And number 5, maintenance of samatvam. This is the 5-point program. And even if you want to have a 5-year plan, you can practice point number 1 for 1 year. Take your own time. Because, as I say, spiritual journey is like a marathon. Marathon running, the successful runners, marathon, they make, suppose it is a big ground, Olympic marathon and all that. I don't know. I've seen it in schools and colleges. There will be a ground and they will be making 21 or 25 rounds of that whole place, marathon running. So, the people who actually win the marathon, what they do, they don't start running very fast in the beginning. They start first round, second round, third round, fourth round, slowly, they will build up. And then when it comes to the final rounds, all others who have run faster earlier would have become tired and they will drop out. So this person would have conserved all his energy for the last few rounds and he will outbeat all the others. So like that, spiritual journey, one should never have anxiety. Oh, I have to finish this by this time. I have to do this and all that. And most important thing for all people like us in a spiritual journey is what? It is Chitta Shuddhi. Because our minds, our Chitta is so much, our Antakarana, so much impure. Janma after janma after janma, we have only added impurities. Impurities in the form of Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. All that impurities are there and they are all coming from what? Raga and Dvesha. So, we have to focus on that. And first thing that we have to do as a serious seeker, I'm saying, is work on Chitta Shuddhi. For that, Karma Yoga is the only way. There is no other way. You can't put a brush in your mind and clean it. So we should take our own time. This sloka, as I said, if you remember, 5-point program, work on it slowly, slowly. Even in 5 years, if you have gained sufficient level of Chitta Shuddhi, sufficient level of Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti, nothing like it. Then the rest of the life, Jnana Yoga only. Spend your time in Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, everything. And everything will become very easy to understand. For that, this Karma Yoga is necessary. We will stop here. Next sloka, we will, 31st sloka, take up in the next class. Start with that. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidham Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all very much.
Namaskaram, and thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji. Thanks a lot.
Namaskaram. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Hari Om.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you. Okay, Hari Ji is there today, back in action. Namaste.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. How are you keeping?
I am much better.
Much better. Okay, good.
Yeah, I had to undergo one more test
Okay,
by end of this month.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Right. All the best.
Thank you, Guruji.
Tell me.
Guruji, I don't know whether it is related to what you taught us today, but I still will ask. I have two queries. One is, how do you differentiate between renunciation and tyaga?
Tyaga. Your mother will spend sleepless nights for the child.
Yeah.
Because child will wake up in the night, 2 times, 3 times. She has to change the nappies and so many things. Want to have milk, so to give milk and all that. Your mother, in a very poor family, she will cook some food with whatever little, material is available. And suppose the family has got the father, 4 children, and the mother, 6 people. She will feed all others. And whatever is left, she will eat. Of course, I am talking about traditional mothers, not today's. Many mothers are there. First they will eat and then only they will give to others. I am talking about traditional mothers. Then whatever is left, they will eat. Not only that, if there nothing is left, they will drink a glass of water and sleep. That is tyaga. Right? Tyaga is giving up something for the sake of benefit of somebody else. I am prepared to forego all my comforts, all my what I should otherwise rightfully get. I am prepared to forego if somebody else is happy, somebody else is benefiting by that. Sannyasa, on the other hand, renunciation, is giving up all emotional attachments with either other people or even possessions, so that I become free. I set off on the path of moksha, on the path of freedom. on the path of liberation. So sannyasa is letting everybody else free, letting go of everybody, freeing them from all your bond, your emotional entanglements. You don't need to worry about me. I will take care of myself. I am on a different path. That is sannyasa. I mean, this is to my limited intellect. This is the differentiation I can make between tyaga and
Sannyasa.
But there may be, much better explanation for that, which doesn't occur to me at my mind. But this is what I can see as this is tyaga is still a lot of emotion is involved, whereas in sannyasa the emotions are kept away. They are disentanglement of with emotional commitments. That is sannyasa.
When I do my karma without the sense of kartrutva and also the bhoktva, I am not worried about the fruit of my action. Can that be called as sannyasa? I'm still doing the job, but I don't worry about the result.
Well, it can't be called sannyasa with just one aspect of it.
Yeah.
Where you may not. The another thing I should mention here, that the word tyaga and sannyasa are many times used, interchangeably also, right? Because I just to recollect one mantra, na karmana na prajaya, that mantra is there,
Correct.
Tyage naike amritatva manashu. By renunciation alone, one will get moksha. That mantra is there, right? Na karmana na prajaya na dhanena tyagena eke amritatva manashu. That mantra goes like that. So tyaga and renunciation are considered also sometimes interchangeably used in the Shastra. But to come back to your question, if you only with respect to actions, you don't have expectations, but with respect to non-action, for example, you have got other people, you expect other people to respect you, to do namaskaram to you, that nothing of your action is involved in that, right? You are a very erudite scholar, you are a in the society ladder, you are very high up, so you want expect everybody else to respect you. You want your children to respect you. No action is involved on your part. But if you have that expectation, but I say that no, I'll do my action without expectation, that will not be sannyasa. Sannyasa is totally completely, you have no expectation at all from anybody, anything. Even if somebody is actually mouthing bad words about you, right on your face, if you are able to keep calm, not retort, smile and walk away, that is a attitude of sannyasa. Because sannyasa, one of the important thing is non-violence, right? Ahimsa. So even if somebody is doing something to you and you don't you retaliate, it could be violence. It could be seen as violence. Again, this is very broadly I'm saying. There is a lot more. When we have to go into all these topics, they are all so deep that we have to see, what are the Shastra says and what are the exceptions also in Shastra. That is a big subject matter there. But very broadly, I'm telling that. That is probably, only one aspect of it. If there is no expectation of result, does not mean that one has got a sannyasa renunciate attitude. In all aspects, it should be there. Okay.
I have one more. I don't know whether this would be the right forum to ask that question, but still I will ask the question. How do you, we always hear that Om is the subtlest.
What is that?
Om.
Home.
Yeah, it is the subtlest.
Uh.
Grossest, grosser,
Om.
gross, and
You are talking
subtle.
about Om, right?
Yeah. How do you say that Om is the subtlest?
How do I say Om is the subtlest?
No, if this is not the
See,
forum.
Om, one way you can see it is Om represents what?
It is,
Om actually is a primordial sound which according to us represents Bhagawad. Okay.
yeah.
Ishvara, right? But I think, I don't remember about Om, I think in Vishnu Sahasranamam I talked about Om. Pujya Swamiji's beautiful commentary is there. On that basis, I did give a talk, I remember, in Vishnu Sahasranamam classes. Anyhow, Om, Om basically represents the entire universe.
Yeah, the three states of consciousness are
State of consciousness, right?
Mm.
And also, Om is supposed to be the primordial sound of the entire universe, which we cannot hear because we are gross. But rishis and munis who have very subtle faculties, they have actually heard that sound of the universe. And in fact, I don't know whether you have seen that movie. What was the name of the movie? It came about 40 years ago. 2001 Space Odyssey. Have you seen that movie?
No.
You have not seen.
2001?
Space Odyssey. This came in the 1980s. This movie came. The movie's name is 2001 A Space Odyssey. It's a very beautiful movie. And the movie starts with what? Sound of Om. And it starts saying that, the commentary starts saying the beginning of it's a Hollywood movie, mind you. It's about space exploration. It is about artificial intelligence. Now, in 1980, I've seen that movie. Amazing movie. If you can see that movie again, if you find it in any, this, what is that film, this thing and all is there, Prime, I don't know what.
Netflix.
2001 A Space Odyssey. It's about a computer becoming, intelligent to beat the man, and then it actually kills the space, it destroys the spaceship rather. It's a beautiful movie. I have seen it when I was, probably, it was 1980s or even 70s probably. I don't remember. Very long back. There, it starts with this Om is the primordial sound of the universe. It starts with that. So, when you say primordial sound, can you hear it? When we get up in the morning, do we hear Om? Of course, we put a tape recorder, we hear. But the sound of the universe, that Om, we don't hear, right? And that is why, it represents Brahman. Om represents Brahman because the entire creation is nothing but manifestation of Brahman and Maya. Right? All that we have seen. What is the subtlest? Subtlest is Brahman. So Om is subtlest. From that you can understand. Because if you see from, of course you have not been in Tattva Bodha. In Tattva Bodha this is explained. From the combination of, this is the Srishti Vichara, how the creation happened. So from Brahman, the 5 gross elements or first 5 subtle elements came. What are they? Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, Prithvi. Correct? From Brahman they have come. Now, if you see the characteristics of these 5 elements, Prithvi is the grossest, earth, right? It has got all the 5 qualities. Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, Sparsha, and what is that? smell. Gandha is that. Rupa, rasa. Again, missing this. So all 5 qualities, 5 sense organs can interact with Prithvi. So it is the grossest. Then when you come to water,
You can't smell.
you can't smell the water. One is less. So it is subtler than Prithvi.
Yeah, that is
When
the
it
4.
comes to Agni,
You can't smell and you can't touch.
can't touch.
it. No,
Okay.
touch you can do.
Huh?
You can't smell and you can't taste. Agni.
You can't taste. Okay. Whatever. So that is subtler than water. Then
Yeah.
come to air. It has got
Yeah.
only 2 qualities.
That is sound and touch.
Touch. Correct?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
subtler than Agni. Come to Akasha. Only one
Only
quality.
sound. Only
Only
sound.
sound. Huh? Only sound.
Yeah.
And when you go to the next level, Brahman, no qualities, Nirguna. So subtlest of all. And that subtlest of all, that Brahman is represented by Om. So Om is said to be the subtlest. Does it answer your question?
Yeah, I know. It is giving me points for me to
Think.
reflect.
Okay, very good. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, Anjali ji, what is your question?
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste.
Guruji, this moksha is nitya vastu and the artha kama is anitya vastu. What is the exact meaning of the Sanskrit word nitya and anitya? I want
Nitya
to
means
know.
permanent. Anitya means not permanent.
Changing. Okay.
Changing.
Okay. Anitya. Ulta.
Nitya means permanent, ever existing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Guruji. Yeah, thank you.
Right. Thank you. Any more questions? Anything else? Okay. Nothing is there. Okay. Thank you all very much. Hari Om. See you next Saturday.
Hari Om.
Hari
Good
Om.
night.
Good
Thank you,
night.
Guruji. Pranam.
Thank you.
Hari Om Guruji. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.